What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we're going to be discussing the Martin St. Louis trade, which occurred back on March 5th, 2014. Now, this is one of the rare times in sports where a player requested a trade, or I should say demanded a trade, and was traded exactly where he wanted to go. Now, basically, Martin St. Louis requested a trade, and he requested this trade after Steve Yzerman, who was the general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning at the time, left him off of Team Canada's roster for the 2014 Olympics. He said that the snub showed him a complete lack of respect and that he couldn't play for the team anymore. Now, because he was a veteran and he had, signed a few contracts and he was essentially nearing the end of his Hall of Fame career, he did have a no movement clause. And he was only willing to waive this clause if Tampa Bay sent him to the New York Rangers. Thus, Tampa Bay's hands were tied, and they decided to keep their star, future Hall of Famer happy by sending him to the Rangers. So he was sent to the Rangers alongside a draft pick in exchange for 4 assets. We will start by discussing what the Rangers got. So, of course, the first player that they got, was the right wing, Martin St. Louis. And St. Louis, he struggled immensely in New York. He would score 1 goal with 7 assists over 19 games in the 13-14 regular season. Now, fortunately for him, he did step his game up in the playoffs. He would score 8 goals and add 7 assists in 25 games as New York made a run to the Stanley Cup Finals, but they would ultimately fall. Now, he was named an alternate captain for the 14-15 season, and he played respectably. He had 21 goals with 31 assists during that season. Now, in 19 playoff games that year, he ended up struggling, only scoring 1 goal with 6 assists. Now, he ends up not getting offered a contract, and he ends up retiring after that season. Now, he's in the Hall of Fame, but it's for what he did in Tampa Bay, not what he did in New York. Now, they also got a 2015 second-round pick. This would become the 60th overall pick, and it ends up getting traded away, but this was discussed in the Keith Yandel trade, so that will be linked in the description below. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. So the Lightning got 4 assets for Martin St. Louis. The first one is right wing Ryan Callahan. And Callahan, I remember when this trade happened because I grew up, obviously I went to a lot of Wolfpack games. I loved Ryan Callahan. He was a great player in Hartford. So this trade was definitely one that hit home. I'm like, oh man, Callahan's going to Tampa now. Now, he had a decent remainder of the 13-14 season. He would score 6 goals with 5 assists. And then he would end up signing an extension to stay in Tampa. And he would reward Tampa for that new contract with a career year in points with 54 and assists with 30, while adding 24 goals. Now, he was appointed as an alternate captain prior to the 15-16 season, but he did struggle that year, scoring only 10 goals with 8 assists. Now, he would undergo hip surgery after the season, and unfortunately, he would aggravate the hip injury early on in the 16-17 season. He would only appear in 18 games that year, scoring a pair of goals and a pair of assists. Now, when he returned in the 17-18 season, he was moved to a bottom 6 role. He ended that year with only 5 goals and 13 assists. He regressed a bit more in the 18-19 season, scoring 7 goals with 10 assists. Now, after the season came to an end, Tampa Bay announced that Callahan was dealing with a degenerative back disease, which all but ended his playing career. Nevertheless, he was placed on the long-term IR. Now, he ends up getting traded to the Ottawa Senators in essentially a salary dump. So they traded him and a draft pick to Ottawa for a player in a draft pick. So the player that they got was goaltender Mike Condon, and he would spend 1 year in the minors, bouncing around between the ECHL and the AHL for Tampa before his contract expired. They were never expecting to get anything out of him. And they also got a 2020 6th-round pick. This would become the 157th pick. With that, they would select right wing Nick Capone, and Capone is currently playing in college hockey. So, Tampa also got 3 draft picks. The first one we'll look at is the 2014 first-round pick. This would be the 28th overall, and they would trade it to the New York Islanders for the 35th and 57th picks in 2014. So the 35th pick was used to select defenseman Dominic Massin. And Massin, he would spend 5 years in the AHL for Tampa before leaving to go play in the KHL. They spent the 57th pick on defenseman Jonathan McLeod, and, he ended up not signing with the team, so not the best trade, but New York didn't do much better. So then we have two more draft picks in 2015. The first one was a first round pick, which would become, once more, the 20th overall. Now this would be traded away, but this will be a part of a new video that will be coming out at the end of the 2021-22 season, the Mathew Barzal trade, so stay tuned for that one. Now lastly, we got a 2015 7th round pick. This would be the 209th pick, and they would trade this back to the New York Rangers. So they would trade it to New York in exchange for defenseman forward Daniel Walcott. And Walcott, he spent the majority of his time at the AHL level for the team, as he has appeared in a single NHL game thus far. He's mostly been used as a defensive player in the AHL, though, for the team. So that's what Tampa and New York got. How about the secondary teams? We're going to start by discussing New York's, the Rangers' secondary move. So they got a draft pick in 2015, the 209th pick. This would be traded away. Because they are a secondary team, we will not be discussing it. So we have two more teams to look at. We'll start with the Ottawa Senators. So they got two assets. The first one was right wing Ryan Callahan, and he spent 1 year on the long-term IR before retiring. They also got a 2020 5th round pick. This would be the 155th pick, and they would use that to select left wing Eric Engstrand, and he is currently playing in Sweden. Now, in case you're wondering, Ottawa really got screwed in this trade. So they essentially took on a bit of money to move up 2 spots. So not the best move for them. Not the best move for them at all. Now, lastly, we have the New York Islanders, who got the 28th pick in the 2014 draft. With that, they would select right wing Joshua Ho-Sung, and the best thing I could say about him is that he's just a disappointing player. So he was late to the first day of training camp in 2015, which led to the Islanders saying, all right, you know what, he must have had a bad reason or something. So they sent him back to the OHL. They said, you know what, no, we're not even going to, we're fed up. Go back to the OHL. So he had to spend 1 more year there. Now, he would join the team for the 16-17 season, and he would get sent to the AHL, but he did make his debut later that year. He would bounce around the AHL and the NHL for 3 seasons for the team, spending a combined 53 games at the NHL level. In those 53 games, he would score 7 goals with 17 assists before being waived. He has since left to play overseas. So this is one of those trades where, I mean, is there really a winner? Not really. I'd say Martin St. Louis is the winner because he got to play in New York for a year and a half. But it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this trade. This was the Martin St. Louis trade. Have a good rest of your day.